Good evening, folks, and welcome back again to Wilderness Wargaming. Tonight we're going to take a look at the newest information out from Games Workshop on 10th edition. They've finally given us the battle phases for 10th edition, number 40,000, and we're going to take a look at that. They've also got some other interesting information in there. So we start off with a pretty cool Craft Worlds versus Thousand Suns here with a backup from some Harlequins. And nice picture, very nice picture. And then let's take a look at the battle round here. So looks like we're down to 5 phases: command phase, movement phase, shooting phase, charge phase, and fight phase, all of which seem to be pretty self-explanatory. You can only assume that there's fewer sub-steps in each one as well. So admin, then you move around, then of course you shoot, then you charge, and then you fight. Psychic phase and morale phase are gone, but the effects still remain compressed into the other phases. Okay, so yeah, that's true. For some armies, the psychic phase was very exciting. For other ones, it was just being on the receiving end of a fire hose of psychic stuff. A lot of times, though, if you were an army that was in between, it was a phase of rolling the dice and failing psychic tests, and then having your whole game plan fall apart because you really did need those psychic powers, and even though they had a work chart of 5, you can't seem to pass. So, all right. So let's see. First of all, we've got here the new Terminator Librarian. This guy is very cool. I love this new model. I would love to be able to learn how to paint those glow effects on him. So he's okay. Movement 5, toughness 5, save 2 up. So yeah, 5 Terminator increased toughness 2 up, save wounds 5. Leadership 6, objective secured 1, and invulnerable save 4. Deep strike, and a leader. He has the Oath of Moment ability, a psychic hood. So, okay, so he gives, while he's leading unit models in that you have feel no pain against psychic attacks. This model is leading a unit. Wounds by models in that unit have sustained hits 1 ability. I'm not exactly sure what sustained hits does. I don't remember going over that one, but that's no. I think it's maybe his exploding 6s. I'm not sure. Okay. Anyhow, he's got a combi weapon. So I wonder if they're just combining all combi weapons into the same thing, so you're not going to have combi flamers and meltas and plasmas anymore. It's just all going to be one profile. Don't know if I would be entirely a fan of that outcome. Anti-infantry 4 up. That's good. Devastating wounds. Rapid fire 1. It would at least be very effective against infantry. Strength 4, AP 0. Okay. So let's see what we've got. Witchfire and focused witchfire. It looks like okay, so 1 is hazardous. I'm not sure what that's going to do. Maybe inflict mortal wounds on a certain result on the caster. If that applies to both of them, or if it's, I mean, they're both obvious. Oh yeah, it only applies to focused because that one's the. They both say psychic. Okay, and then he's got a storm bolter. Why is the storm bolter listed separate from the combi weapon? That's another very curious thing. I really wonder about that. And then he's got a force weapon. So the axe, sword, and staff are all going to be consolidated to 1. That's fine with me. Less worrying about what the model looks like. Okay, and okay, all right. Well, so yeah, it looks pretty straightforward. I don't quite understand what the difference, other than I guess you can use either the Witchfire or the Focused. You just have to take the risk of the hazardous with the Focused. Okay. If we go down here to the Weirdboy, what has he got? No guns. It just says he's just got he's got a Weirdboy staff, melee attacks, and he's got something called Ed Banger. Deadly Demise. D3 leader. So I bet he explodes from mortal wounds. Here, Weirdboy head explosions have been a long part of Orc lore. Let's see. We went 6, toughness 5, save 5 up, wounds 4, leadership 7, objective control 1. He's an Orc, infantry character, Psyker Weirdboy. When he's leading a unit, add 1 to the strength and damage characteristic of this model's Edbanger weapon for every 5 models in that unit, rounding down. But while the unit contains 10 or more models, that weapon has the hazardous ability. Okay, alright. So, because orcs, the more of them there are, the more they psychically charge up their own abilities, and the Weirdboys are their psychers. And they have those minders. That guy that's holding that chain with him, his minder. He gets an improvement in his psychic effects if there's 5 or more models in the unit, but once you get to 10 or more, it becomes dangerous. Okay. And once per turn at the end of your movement phase, one Weirdboy for your army can use this ability. Roll d6 on the 1, d6 wounds on a 2+. Weirdboy's unit, 2+ remove this, set it up anywhere on the battlefield with more than 9 inches horizontal everywhere. So basically allows you to teleport around the map. Pretty cool, but you take the risk of taking mortal wounds. Okay. Yeah, up to d6, so that could actually be a pretty rough outcome if you rolled a 1 followed by a 5 or 6. Okay. Alright. Oh, I like this picture even more. Look at this. Night Lords. And facing down some Dark Angels. Okay, yeah, I love those. Only thing is, they're light on the lightning bolts. I paint a lot of lightning bolts on my Night Lords. The Games Workshop ones, I mean, their painting's obviously better than mine, but I like more lightning bolts on my Night Lords. Well, yeah, Night Lords are who you want to show if you're talking about morale. 2d6 for each unit's below half strength, so you're going to try to roll high now instead of low on this, and it's 2d6, so it's like a charge rather than a 1d6 with, okay. Okay, a single model with less than half of their starting wounds. Okay, so now we can battle shock. We can affect single models with leadership. That's awesome. Okay, that's one of the big problems with leadership shenanigans has been units with a strength of 1, was morale was completely meaningless to them. Okay, so what do we have to do? If it's below half strength, so, okay. While the unit is battle shock, the objective control, so the model 0. If it falls back, you have to take a desperate escape test, which, that's a test, it's not a stratagem. So that must be, I bet you that's some kind of roll similar to see if they either disappear from the battlefield as a casualty or something. It could be something else, I don't know. And you can't affect stratagems to affect that unit. That could be really, really helpful in dealing with certain types of models. Especially like really big enemy models that fail. Maybe you couldn't use those ones that bring them back up to full wounds, if those still exist. I don't know. It's no longer just a casualty multiplier. Impacts every other phase of the game. Okay, loads more to see. So let's see what. Okay. Plasma levels will be full of this effect, which kills the foot or inflicts mortal wounds for characters. Oh, that's hazardous. Okay, so plasma probably will be hazardous also, but this expands out to more things than just plasma, such as psychic weapons. So I'm gonna just admire this picture while I talk about this a little bit. I think I like this. The only thing I've seen that I don't like so far is combi weapon. I do kind of like it from a standpoint of not having to have different models with different combi weapons. Things with making making squads of Chosen and Chaos Terminators, of trying to balance the points for combi weapons, the point versus trying to save points by not using the combi weapons, and which ones and how many are allowed in each squad. It was a pain putting those together. I probably have pretty suboptimal builds. That's okay. So I wouldn't mind it from that standpoint of just easing army construction, both on the list building side and on the assembly side, and hopefully giving me the opportunity to save a little money and not needing to buy extra stuff just to have different weapons, at least not as frequently. But I also don't like losing some of my combi weapons. Like I put together Sternguard Veteran Squad for the Salamanders, actually two of them, and I'm not sure I'm a fan of losing the Meltas out of the Melta one, or the Combi Gravs, or the Combi Plasmas, because I could do any of those three. Yeah, I know that's a little odd for Salamanders, but I can. Um, I'm not. I'm mildly not crazy about losing the force weapon, or rather, losing the different types of force weapon. But overall, I kind of like it because it means you're not locked into picking one based on looks versus one based on stats. So I feel pretty good about that change, really. Um, I do hope that as more stuff comes out, things like this, changing out these psychic powers, will be available. Veil of Time, yeah, I'd like to get my Salamander's Drakeskin back, or at least Fire Shield. I like Drakeskin a little better. I hope that psychic powers are not limited to the point of becoming boring. I probably would have liked to see this guy have two psychic powers on here, and he could pick one to cast in addition to smite. And the psychic hood. I hope that this does not get ruled to be when the rest of his unit is dead, he loses the feel no pain against psychic attacks. That would be kind of stupid since he's wearing the psychic hood. I also would like to know what happened to Perils of the Warp. I guess it's just the hazardous on certain powers. Maybe Perils is just going to be far less common. But at least it seems to be form here, at least in some forms. You still have the hazardous on there. And when we come down to the Weirdboy for comparison, orcs are not an army I know a whole lot about, other than having been on the receiving end of them many times way back in 2nd edition. So other than generally kind of considering them amusing comic relief, and I believe they are secretly the good guys in the galaxy. They're actually secretly the good guys because they're on one giant pub crawl. I don't have any strong feelings about any of this. It seems fine to me. I don't see anything on there that makes me like, holy crap, I would not want to play an orc army with a Weirdboy in it, and I don't see anything on there that's going to change my mind and make me suddenly want to be an orc player either, because I don't. Battle Shock. How do I feel about Battle Shock? Good. I need to know what the Desperate Escape test is. The objective control going to 0 and not using stratagem, that makes perfect sense. I'd like to know if the Desperate Escape test is actually something that, what kind of risk that imposes on the unit. I don't think it'll be any worse. I think statistically you're probably at about the same place for most of your armies as far as success chance. What I'm more concerned about here is just finding out what it means. But I do like it. I do like it a lot. I can definitely see how it's going to make morale something more fluid and not something you forget about half the time. Okay, well, thanks for watching, folks. Please remember to like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below. If you can't think of anything else to ask or say, please at least leave me a pound Valkyrie for our dog. She loves us. She likes to be part of the food videos, or at least likes to be part of the food. And click the notifications bell for more great content from Wilderness Wargaming. We're going to be back here again very soon. I have another game I'm going to take some brief looks at. Darktide, we're going to have another video soon. We're going to probably, I do not have an Ogren yet, so we'll be starting up the Ogren. And we're going to continue with Warhammer content and with the playthrough of Inquisitor Martyr. And I also will have a couple of more. One's going to be about, well, camping and hiking vacations, saving money. and we're probably going to have one before too long about how to efficiently pack your vehicle and save yourself a lot of headaches. So, hope to see you back again soon. Have a good night and goodbye.